Hello everyone, welcome to our closing show here on day one. Rich Hagon alongside Ian Duke, and we're going to begin, Ian. There's so many great cards to choose from, and Amonkhet really played its part both in the limited rounds, where of course it was the star attraction, but also in constructed. What card have you chosen for card of the day?
Well, my card of the day is Lord of the Accursed, the zombie lord from Amonkhet. Of course, we've seen the zombie decks break out in a huge way this weekend, both mono-black zombies and also black-white zombies, which has gone 8-0 in the hands of Chris Fennell.
Right.
And so, you can pick whichever zombie you like, whichever your favorite one is, but for me, Lord of the Accursed, new zombie lord from Amonkhet, it's kind of emblematic of that whole zombie package, which of course bridges both Shadows over Innistrad block and Amonkhet block together.
Right, and also, it's a really key component sitting there as an uncommon in the black-white zombies deck that you play in Amonkhet draft. So it did double duty today.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw it show up in Limited, did awesome work there. It is just an uncommon, so if you want to get started on your zombie deck, do a couple drafts of Amonkhet and you're well on your way.
Away you go, great stuff. So that's our card of the day, Lord of the Accursed. Let's see how the black-white zombies deck do tomorrow, both in limited and constructed. Now, what about team of the day? Well, our team of the day, that's partly because of limited. Let's send you across town, and here's our man embedded deep in the team series, Brian David Marshall.
Team of the day is Musashi, the Japanese super team. They came into this tournament tied for first in the Pro Tour Team Series standings, and they've done nothing to let anyone close much ground on them. They've been neck and neck sort of in the individual standings of this tournament with Genesis, but as the #1 team, they've really just pulled away. And a lot of that is on the back of multiple 3-0 drafts at the start of the day. They got off to a great limited finish. Of course, 2 Hall of Famers really highlighting the team, Yuya Watanabe and Shota Yasaoka. But this is a team, again, we talked about this. No one spiked the event at the first stop on this Pro Tour Team Series. All had consistent finishes, but, if they get 1 or 2 players anywhere near the top 8, they're going to be in great shape going into the last event in Kyoto.
Thanks very much, BDM. So team of the day, Musashi, yes, very much in great shape. Now, what about a match of the day? Not just a card doing its one thing, but just a whole sequence of plays. The 2 people who had the best chance to see that, Ian, were Kenji Egashira and Tim Willoughby, because they've been down on the floor in the feature match area all day long. So why don't we find out their thoughts. Guys, what's match of the day?
Thanks, Rich. We have been living in the feature match area pretty much the whole day, Kenji, and we've seen some great magic, but there have been a couple of matches that have really stood out. I'm going to kick things off. I'm going to say that if you go right back to the very start of the day, we saw Martin User. He drafted a blue-white spells deck that he described as basically the template for what a blue-red spells deck, the template for what one should look like. It had Enigma Drakes, it had everything going on, and it was able to win 2 games with a single attack step between those 2 games. Insult to Injury, it got cast, it got played from the graveyard, but you know what? When you cast Insult to Injury, you don't need to get into the red zone when you've got a gigantic Enigma Sphinx. That was enough to deal 20 damage, and you know what? His opponent simply conceded on both occasions. It was poetry in motion, and speaking to Martin, he was very, very proud of that deck. He said that actually the key cards in that deck, believe it or not, 2 copies of Magma Spray. That way you know you can get past fan bearers. He had them, he had everything that he needed, and he closed things out at the very start of our day in just epic fashion.
You're absolutely right. The Magma Sprays, get rid of all the Embalm creatures and whatnot. Man, the Enigma Drake getting up to, 10 plus power, just doubling with the Insult to Injury was amazing. But I don't actually think that was the best match of the day. I actually liked Masashi Oisu's New Perspectives deck. It's kind of a new perspective on the format, sorry, pun intended, but I don't want to recycle old jokes, but just going through your deck the whole time until you find a Shadow of the Grave, get to untap your lands, get to kill your opponent with Approach of the Second Sons the whole time, and Martin Uza was playing against him in this match as well, so we're going to get a Martin Uza favorite match of the day regardless, but Martin Uza was just F6. Am I dead? Am I dead? And Masashi went for it on a turn where he could have fumigated, potentially surviving, and he whiffed, and he's like, I failed, and Martin's like, okay, I guess I get it. So that was my favorite match.
Yeah, no guts, no glory there from Masashi Uizo. Wasn't quite able to take it down with a New Perspectives deck, but definitely, if you like drawing cards, there are no decks that draw more cards in the format. You basically can't help but, if you're winning the game, draw about 20 cards in the turn that you go off, and everybody loves doing that. So a little bit of a split decision, but one thing we're sure about is that Martin User was involved in the match of the day here in the feature match area, day one of Pro Tour Amonkhet.
Very much to Tim and Kenji. Now, what about the player of the day? Well, Pierre Dajon, I presume, is lying down in a darkened room somewhere after just an astonishing round 8. Ian, can you really believe that what you were watching in the booth this morning in Limited is the same game as we just witnessed in the feature match?
Yeah, it's amazing to think of two absolute opposite ends of the spectrum, you know, comparing an average Limited game to that just slugfest that we had there.
Yeah, we talk about those one drops, you know, like how many one drops can I get in my red-white aggro deck in round 1? And then Ulamog, and just crazy stuff. But our player of the day is waiting across town with Brian David Marshall, the 8-0 master, Chris Fennell.
Thanks, Rich. I'm here with Chris Fennell. Chris, Dublin didn't go so well for you. Your sort of introduction to your teammates on Lingering Souls, you didn't have a great tournament, but more than pulling your weight this weekend, how has this tournament gone for you? Do you feel cheated? Have you not played enough Magic? You didn't play the maximum amount of, anywhere close to the maximum amount of games you could have played today.
No, you know, I had a great day today. I ran super hot. I enjoyed myself a lot. I didn't even lose a game until the 8th round. So I was 14-0 at one point in games. I really, you know, I worked with the guys. I basically played their exact 75. I didn't play a single game with the deck before the tournament.
Yep.
So I didn't even build it until this morning. I took draft lands to put the deck together. So, you know, they did all the work. I mean, I'm just the pilot, so to speak. So.
Talk to me a little bit about this black-white zombie deck. I mean, it worked out very well for you. What was the advantage of getting all those white cards into that zombie deck?
Well, we thought that the field was primarily going to be zombies, Marvel, and Mardu. And the mirror match is exponentially better for you when you have the white because you get into standoffs and the wayward zombies put you in such a life advantage that...
Wayward Servant being able to drain whenever a zombie comes in.
Exactly. The Wayward Servants put you at such a life advantage they can't really alpha you. And then having access to Anguished Unmaking really improves your Marvel matchup. I mean, in the feature match area, I think I Anguished Unmaking 3, 4, 5, maybe even Marvels. And their deck just can't keep up with the zombie deck without having access to Marvels. So
excited to get back to the draft table tomorrow. You know you'll be facing off against Pierre Dajon, the other 8-0 player today. You know, what are your thoughts on this format heading in? Better question actually, because I don't want to find out about what you think about Limited, because we'll keep that a secret. Have you ever 8-0'd a Pro Tour day one before?
Nope. I've 9-0'd 4 Limited day ones, but never 8-0'd a Pro Tour day one. So this is the first chance, first time.
How did those Grand Prix go on day 2 for you?
Two top 8s out of 4, which is pretty sad. I actually, and the 2 that I didn't were back-to-back weekends, Atlantic City and Vegas, and I 3-3 day 2 drafts, both of them.
All right. Well, we'll be keeping a keen eye on you in the draft area tomorrow. We'll see how you do. But 8-0 today, our player of the day from Pro Tour Amonkhet.
Fantastic stuff. He's in such a good place, and not just in the game, and that often translates into success in the game. When life's going well, then the magic can go well too. So Ian, we're almost at the end of the show. Let's check out the overall team leaderboard. Now, Masashi with the team of the day, but once we added all the math up, just about in the lead in the team competition is Team Genesis. Martin Muller, 7-1, all their members coming back. Ian, what stands out to you in that top 8 teams that we've got after day one?
Certainly Team Musashi. We saw them do excellent in the limited rounds, which is perhaps a little unusual. Japanese players often known for their prowess in constructed, but they actually had a tremendous performance in limited this weekend as well.
I think in 7th place, Eureka is really significant because you see that they've only got 4 people left alive in the tournament, but Gershenson, Dickman and Tobias are all at 6-2. Now, if you replicate that, you get 12-4. That's right on the edge of contention for top 8. And if you can get any one member into the top 8, as we saw from Deck's 3rd with Lucas Escobar-2, you get a ton of points for that. So that's the team standings. Genesis Musashi lead the way. Let's take one more look at the individual standings then here. Your 2-8-0s, Pierre Dajon of France and Chris Fennell, amongst the 7-1s. And if this is the order once we've finalised the standings, Ian, what a draft we've got ahead of us in the morning.
Holy smokes, you aren't kidding here, Rich. This is just name after heavy hitter after ringer here. And yeah, it's going to be quite a pod one.
Yeah, and Kazuaki Fujimura playing in his 14th Pro Tour. This is rarefied atmosphere for him. Oliver Rocks at 7-1, the Calculator, Chris Calcano back at 7-1, Yasuoka, Frolik, Fabiano. And as the 7-1s wrap up, Pod 2 is going to be great. You've got Watanabe there, Bogomez, Majors, Li Shichan, Martin Muller, Josh Cho back on the top 8 trail. It is going to be an epic day tomorrow, and we cannot wait to bring it to you. Day 1 of Amonkhet is in the books. You build the success one brick at a time. We'll do it all again tomorrow. For everyone here on the team that brings you the magic from around the world, I'm your host, Rich Hagon, saying bye.